Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Alex of Coyote Star Astrology, and this is my video for the new moon in Cancer coming in on July 9th, 2021, which is a Friday here in California. However, please do adjust for your current location on the planet as that time and date may change. And I do apologize that this video is out a little bit late. I've been in the process of moving and I don't even have my new room really set up, but I am getting it out just barely in time to get it to you on time. Let's talk about the last week. Wow, that was for many of us one of the most intense weeks of the year. We have been moving through the energies of our second Saturn-Uranus square. There's going to be 3 of them, which makes up the sort of overarching theme for 2021. And we've been moving through the second sort of wave of that intense transit. And what made last week particularly intense was that Mars in Leo was making its opposition to Saturn and squaring Uranus as well, which heightened the intensity of the Saturn-Uranus square. So let's spend a moment just talking about that aspect and the last week. And I really feel like this new moon is almost like an integration portal, a pause to emotionally sort of transmute all the change that has been occurring. And that is sort of like a key element of the Saturn-Uranus square is change. So just for review, the square between Saturn and Uranus is the conflict between Saturn, which is the old way, the old guard, and the new way, Uranus, which is about revolution, huge quantum leaps, shifts. And Uranus, when it's aspecting Saturn, it destabilizes, it detonates our stability in order to usher in this new reality. So across the board, when I'm in my sessions with clients, this is really for each one of us the theme right now, which is massive, massive change. And the Uranian element has a lot of us really excited. The Uranus aspect has this sort of like future that we can see clearly that is new and totally different from everything that's been holding us back and everything that represents the old reality, but it's not quite here yet because of this Uranus square Saturn square. There's still some elements that are restrictive and holding us back, and so we're sort of in this limbo right now of birthing this new reality as a collective and having to really let go of things in order to bring in what it is that we're trying to create, whatever this Uranian future is for you. So this theme of letting go is massive as we're feeling certain aspects of life crumble and destabilize and shift. And part of that is illustrated by the fact that all last week we had this fixed cross happening because we had Saturn in Aquarius, we had Uranus in Taurus, we had Mars and Venus in Leo. And so there was this T-square happening, and the missing link, the empty leg of the fixed cross is Scorpio. So when we have a T-square, which is sort of illustrated here by this red triangle, the energy, this is a tense aspect. There's a lot of tension and the energy needs somewhere to go. So often we'll look at the missing angle, and that's where the energy wants to flow. So it wants to flow out through Scorpio, which means death and rebirth. It means letting go, surrendering. You can't have the new without letting go of something. And that almost makes it sound a lot easier than it is. You know, if it was as easy as just, oh, I just need to let go. Okay, I'm going to loosen my grasp now. But it's not that simple. It's a lot of people are in this second wave of Saturn square Uranus just realizing what aspects aren't working anymore and realizing the steps that they need to take to usher in the new reality. And when we're dealing with a Saturn square, a lot of the limitation is like real shit, you know, it's like real restrictions, whether that be financial or whether that be with a job or whatever. I'm seeing that a lot as well in my sessions of individuals who want to break free, but they have all of these Saturnian obligations that they have to navigate first. Like, how the hell am I supposed to leave my job to pursue something that I really love if I have 3 kids and I need to get food on the table? And like, you know, these are real considerations, and it's real Saturnian stuff. It doesn't happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes blood, sweat, and tears. That's all very Saturnian. So people are moving through a lot. And to bring it back, last week, having Mars make aspect really was the image that comes to mind when we have Mars in square to anything is like Mars is acceleration and speed. Mars wants to go. But when it's being squared, it's being hindered. So imagine a dog like throwing itself against a leash, or a car that's stuck in mud and you're gunning it and spinning the wheels, but gravel is just going everywhere and you can't go. So there's this frustration aspect that happened last week. It was very emotionally intense because every one of us on the microcosmic was going through it individually. And so people were feeling, it was like a feeling of being on edge, hyperactive, almost overwhelmed, anxiety. A lot of people were feeling anxiety because of this influence. But yeah, so the image I kept getting was of like tectonic plates, you know, when you see those diagrams of earthquakes and you see one plate under the Earth's crust like pushing against the other one, creating all of this tension. The energy has to go somewhere, and then there's an earthquake. So what did we have last week? Well, we had the explosion of the pipeline in the Gulf of Mexico. It's so crazy because I was sitting around with a couple of astrologers a few days before, and we were like throwing guesses out. What's it going to be? Is it going to be a volcano? Is it going to be an earthquake? Some type of explosion. We all agreed. And what was it? It was an explosion. And I don't know if you guys saw that picture of the fire under the water that came out of that pipeline. And it was so bizarre because especially the footage of it at night, it really looked like the sun. And that was that Mars in Leo ruled by the sun, this explosion of heat and fire and action, and the square to Uranus, unexpected, unpredictable. So the explosion of the pipeline is a perfect representation of the energies over the last week, and that they're dissipating somewhat, but we're still in it. But positively, what that aspect did was like, something's got to give, you know, like for a lot of us, some of these choices that we're making are so challenging and so difficult that a lot of people with this Saturn Uranus aspect are stagnating and you know, afraid to make the shift, but also don't want to be where they're at. So this Mars square was like a push, making us so uncomfortable in some ways that we had to do certain things to get certain things rolling. Me, for example, I've been trying to move for the last 6 months. I finally did it. I finally, you know, found a place, and it was a nightmare, and I won't get into the details, but it was a lot of work. Who the hell decides to move during a Saturn opposite Mars? I had so many delays and so many unexpected costs and all this stuff, but it happened. But I had to really like charge through it. So all this to say, last week was freaking intense. And coming into the new moon tomorrow on Friday, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm calling this new moon the PMS moon because when I look at it as a woman, it reminds me of how I feel and how I act when I'm uh, going through the worst of the emotional processes associated with hormonal imbalances right before you start your cycle. That's exactly what this looks like and feels like. And I've been seeing some astrologers on Instagram and whatever talking about, oh, the Mars Venus conjunction in Leo and la la la. And yes, we do have Mars conjunct Venus in Leo, and that's great, and we'll talk about it. But that is not the ruling energy of this chart. In fact, it's being really challenged. I mean, right here we can see Saturn is challenging that. So you guys know me. I've got 3 planets in Scorpio, and I'm always checking myself as like, don't got to talk about the positives as much as the negatives in astrology, obviously, but I just always want to keep it real, and I always want to keep it honest, and I don't want to like over accentuate the Leo aspect in the chart like I see people doing just because people want to feel good and hear positivity right now, because to be honest, this is a really challenging new moon. And I like to be honest because when I feel into the collective and I talk to people out there, especially you guys in the DMs, like people are going through a really, really intense time. And there's so many beautiful things being birthed from it. And especially when we get to the last Saturn Uranus square, like all this shit we're going through right now is going to be so worth it. So it's not even being negative. It's just being fucking real. This new moon is intense. It really is. So let's talk about why, and then we will talk about the Mars Venus in Leo, because it is this little sparkly beacon in the chart. I just don't think it's like the energy that most of us are going to be feeling. Just being honest. It's almost like it's the Venus Mars conjunction is like a little lighthouse or like a little pot of gold in the chart, but everything else is kind of stormy. So let's talk about why. So here's the moon sun conjunction. This is, of course, our new moon at 18 degrees Cancer. And this makes the ruler of this chart the moon, because the moon rules Cancer. So it's a very strong new moon because it's ruled by the moon. And so the first thing we want to do to understand the energy of the new moon is we want to see what aspects are being made to the moon. And that's going to give us the flavor. Well, what aspects are being made to the new moon? An opposition to Pluto. A square from Chiron, the wounded healer. And yes, we do have a sextile to Uranus, which is great. We do have a trine to Neptune, which is great. But I'm going to be honest with you, those two aspects are not as powerful as a opposition from Lord Pluto and a square from Chiron. They're just not. So let's start with the opposition from Pluto. Pluto is transformation. It brings up emotion. It has to do with change. It has to do with all the scorpionic things that we were talking about before. Surrender, letting go, death and rebirth. It brings up intensity. So right away I opened the chart and I was like, okay, this is an intense new moon. It's also likely, and so does the square from Chiron, to bring up the shadow nature of whatever it's aspecting. That's what Pluto does. If Pluto is opposite Scorpio, you're gonna get the darkest scorpionic aspect of Scorpio. If it's opposite Leo, you're going to get the shadow nature of Leo. Here we're opposing Cancer. So we're going to be, as a collective, transforming and transmuting through the shadow of Cancer, which is freaking emotional. And all you Cancers out there know, when Cancer goes through it, they're going through it. They're not feeling like Venus conjunct Mars in Leo. And that's one thing I really want to say about this new moon and the energies that we're feeling right now is there might be part of you that feels like you should be doing better than you are. And I think that that's because of the Venus conjunct Mars. Like I should want to go out and be creative and be the best version of myself, but I just kind of feel like staying home and crying like a cancer, like a Cancer. Like that's almost kind of like what this chart feels like, is like this is deeply internal, private, introspective. It's that receptive feminine nature, which is why I'm calling it the PMS moon, because it's like, you know, as women and the Cancer archetype, it is this highly emotional. It does deal with matters of insecurity and safety, our home. So matters on the home front are heavily highlighted with this new moon. Matters with family can be heavily highlighted, but just overarching, it is feeling a lot and transforming through that feeling. So that's the other side of Pluto, is that it brings all this stuff up so that we can work through it and transform it and come out better on the other side. So this is a portal, and it's really important, I think, after the energies of the last week, that we use this new moon as an integration portal. And I'm really feeling like the priority needs to be around self-care and taking the time that we need, that's necessary. For me personally, literally, I'm taking the day off. I'm staying in my new place. I'm cleaning it. I'm putting my things away. I'm going to freaking Target to get all the little things you need when you first move into a place, nails, hammers, all the little weird things. I'm not expecting too much from myself this new moon. But it's so funny because, just to give you like an illustration of how this energy is coming out for me, I just moved to this new town. I'm so excited. There is this party happening this weekend. There's that Mars Venus energy that my partner actually wants to go to, and I'm just like authentically not really feeling like going. And I'm feeling a little bit like, man, Alex, that sucks. You should get out there. You should go. You know, you're in a new city, blah blah blah. But I don't feel like it. I'm actually feeling a lot. I just moved to a new town. I had to let go of some friends and some things that I was very attached to, and I'm emotional, you know? So that's like kind of like how it's hitting my chart. But so opposition from Pluto, we're feeling a lot, and then we have the square from Chiron, which is honestly like kind of a similar energy. The square from Chiron, the tension from a wound is likely to bring up the shadow of Cancer yet again. And then now positively, we do have this sextile from Uranus. So this is a new moon that is a platform, an intention, an impulse, a new beginning that is supportive of this Uranian new future. So this does look like a new moon where we are taking a step in a new direction, but we feel emotional about it, essentially. So let's talk about the Leo in the chart, because it is a big energy. We see this kite in the chart. We have a sextile between the South Node, Saturn, and Chiron. These three energies are working together. We have a trine between the South Node and Mars and Venus, a trine between Chiron and Mars and Venus. And what we have when we have a kite is, I look at it as a bow and arrow. And if this was a bow and arrow, we would be pulling back and shooting our arrow, in this case, at Venus and Mars in Leo. So essentially what this says is that if we want to get to Venus and Mars in Leo, which is expression of our talents, creative expression, living our best life, confidence, love, we need to do what? We need to work with these energies. We need to heal Chiron. We need to work hard and push back against the challenges that we're facing, Saturn. We need to let go and learn from the past, the South Node. And again, none of this feels easy because of that Saturn opposition. Venus and Mars over here want to express, and Saturn over here is that limiting, difficult, inhibiting force. So bringing it back around, yeah, if you're not feeling totally fantastic or like things are easy right now, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. But Leo evolves from Cancer. It's the next sign. So it goes Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. So here we are at a new moon in Cancer, where we can set new intentions. And in this case, the goal is new intentions that are going to bring us into our Leo. Cancer deals with insecurity. Leo deals with confidence, willpower, and total security. Leo is about, I love myself. Cancer opposite Pluto, at best, I'm trying to love myself. So this new moon, we can be setting intentions around the aspects, particularly emotionally, that are making themselves known, that are making themselves apparent, that we need to address and give some love so that we can step into our Leo reality. And this new moon does really feel like this private moment in the home, in front of the altar, journaling, feeling, breathing, where we can get really clear on what those choices, practices, actions need to be to get there. Particularly if they relate to self-care, healing around the home, family, Cancer themes. So I'm sending you guys a huge warm hug this new moon. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm putting my website up there on the screen, coyotestarastrology.com. If you want to reach out to me for a reading, you're more than welcome to do so. You can find me there. And I'm putting my Instagram up there on the screen as well. I do a lot of astrology on my Instagram. All right, you guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and a share. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Happy new moon. Bye for now.